Well, that was an ugly one. The Edmonton Elks, they fall to the BC Lions by a score of 32-14. Welcome to the Green and Gold Postgame Show, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, presented by Play Alberta. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you here. Thank you to everyone for tuning in live on YouTube, listening across our audio streams, edmontonsportstalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, or for those listening to this on podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. This was an ugly one. The Elks started off looking pretty good through the first few plays. The opening defensive series, pretty strong. First drive of the Edmonton Elks started off really well, then ended with an interception, and then it was all BC Lions from there. This game ends with the Edmonton Elks having 160 net offense to 519 of the BC Lions. This is a game where the BC Lions had 43 minutes of possession. The Elks 17. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a football game where one team had time of possession basically for 3 quarters and the other team had 1 quarter of possession. Your thoughts always welcome, 780-218-9999, or you can jump into the nasty chat. Jay, your thoughts on whatever that was that we saw down at Play Alberta Field presented or at Commonwealth Stadium.
That was disgusting.
That's a good word.
That was embarrassing.
Solid word.
That was a joke.
Nailed it. All 3.
What happened in that game was disgusting, deplorable. Use all the big words you want. That was just not even I don't know what that was, Matty. Trey Ford was terrible. Terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he's touched the field in the second half. He was awful. He was 2 for 8 for 28 yards and an interception in the first half. He underthrew Dunbar Jr., turned into an interception. He overthrew Justin Rankin. He overthrew Zach Mathis. Wide open. Sorry, man. It's not your day. Get out of the game. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing. They ran the ball 4 times in the first half. 4!
They ran the ball 5 times in the game between Leak and Rankin.
I don't know. I don't know. The defense couldn't get off the field to save their life. I mean, 42 minutes of time of possession versus 17 minutes for Edmonton. That's a problem. Everything that the Elks were doing to improve dropped off and fell through the roof or through the floor tonight. I don't know what to make of this team now. I don't know where they stand. I don't know what the feeling is in that locker room, because that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. That team should be ashamed of the effort they put on the field tonight. Ashamed for the fans that showed up to cheer on this team. That team, that organization should be ashamed. That was disgusting. I've never seen more of a lackluster effort in my life.
Not even like a late, second half unnecessary roughness penalty because you went and lit up a BC Lion player just because you're pissed off.
Nothing.
There was no heart, no emotion from this Elks team. That is maybe to me the more disappointing thing out of all of this is that it didn't seem like they cared. It didn't seem like this bothered them as much as it bothers everyone else. I'll give Julian Gittins Jr. gets a touchdown, doesn't celebrate it. I like that. But beyond that, there was no real fight in this one. There was no real battle in this one. And where is just the will to win? You're getting embarrassed out there, and you did nothing really about it to try to turn things around at any point in this game. I've got a long list, a few things to get to into, how this ugly performance happened. But you are right on one thing for sure, and that's all the good that they've built up this season went away today, and then some. This is like this is rock bottom again. This is I don't have hope for this season after this one, because I sit here and I look at this team and go, where do they have talent that actually is going to produce? After the first BC loss, I thought it was an execution thing, not a talent thing. I look at this team right now and go, they're just not talented enough to win and compete in the Canadian Football League. There's a reason that Ed got all these players. There's a reason all their other teams didn't sign them. There's a reason they don't want to go spend the money on these guys, because they probably knew these guys weren't worth it right now. Like, we finally saw a turnover by the defense today, but the interception comes from a defensive lineman on a weird play.
Off of a helmet.
You know, like, who was it, Jackson? I think it was
Jackson, right through his hand.
Right, it leads to a touchdown right there, right through your hands. Can't even get his hand on it to knock the ball down. It goes right through his hands. Trey, you said everything that needs to be said in terms of, Trey was awful.
Horrible.
And this completely changes on that interception to Dunbar, where if you hit him in stride, if you put it over his, on that one even, if you just overthrow him,
hey man,
and it's an incomplete pass, the Elks were moving the ball well. They had 7 plays, 47 yards. They were moving the ball. I would have rather had him overthrow that one and have an incompletion than underthrows it, and it ends up being a turnover. And then he gets scared, it seems, and he throws all those other ones that you've pointed out, because it just seems when things don't go well for Trey, he panics. And he doesn't know what to do. He tries forcing things. And then you see a performance today where, did you have the numbers at half of what he was?
2 of 8, 28 yards.
There it is. 2 of 8.
5 first downs to BC's 19 in the first half.
I just did the quick math for the BC Lions, like from a defensive perspective for the Elks. The BC Lions averaged almost 8 plays per drive.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. And that starts with, okay, they got the stop early. But, as this game goes on, yes, the defense gets tired. But second drive for the BC Lions, 10 plays, 70 yards. Third drive, 10 plays, 63 yards. At the end of the half, it's a 10-point ball game.
Yeah.
You're sitting there thinking, okay, well, if the Elks, BC's pinned deep, you get a stop, maybe you get a field goal, 7 points going to halftime. Instead, what happens? 7 plays, 101 yards in a minute 32. How? How do you allow that as a team and then come out and have zero fight in the second half? Just all around, you had all the right words. Disgusting, embarrassing, heartless performance this evening, whatever you want to call it, by the Edmonton Elks. And anything goodwill that they've built this season, it's gone. And now they're going to buy. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Probably. Get out of town. Is this now where you and I need to have a serious conversation
about
defense? Are the players there? I think this is a combination of the players not being their best or not near to what they're capable of doing. But is this something where you need to look at defensive coordinator J.C. Sherritt and look in the mirror? This defense cannot get off the field.
Nope.
I don't care who's at quarterback for the Elks. If you don't get the ball, 42 minutes versus 17 minutes, time of possession. I get it. Edmonton was 2 and out a lot. Way too much. But 8 play drives, man. Over and over and over and over again. That shouldn't happen.
Well, what doesn't help J.C. Sherritt, I will go with this. And this is maybe something we should have talked more about going into this season. But okay, he has got Demetrius Maxey, who is the special teams coordinator, defensive assistant, going to run the D-line. But you've got Aaron Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, first year as a head coach or as a coach, positional coach.
Yep.
They've got Danny Nisbet. His experience, this is his first year in the Canadian Football League as a coach. He spent some time with the U Sports with the Bears. He was a linebacker coach in 22. 23-24 special team coordinator and linebacker coach. They don't have anyone else listed defensively on the on their website of defensive coaches. Why didn't you bring in maybe another more veteran person? Like there's something I'd like to see maybe in this bye week is some sort of veteran assistant.
Well, wasn't that Demetrius Maxey?
Well, he's handling some of it, but I'd like to. He's never been a defensive coordinator. But J.C. Sherritt has so far this season in his first year as a defensive coordinator not been close to being good enough as a DC. It doesn't seem like he always is calling, it seems, the bad play. Like the play that he calls, just it always gets beaten. Picks the wrong times to do a blitz for the most part.
Yeah. Well, their blitz packages just aren't getting home. It's just not working.
Which then that also leads me to believe that they just also don't have the players fully.
Very well. I mean, hey, when you're talking about a football team, especially the defense, okay? You look down the spine of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the interior lineman, you look at the middle linebacker, and you look at the safety. Well, two of those pieces were out of the game with an injury. In Jake Serezna and Metier. Those are like the captains of your defense. So I understand that. That's tough to lose. But this is just too easy. This pitch and catch. Every team that Edmonton plays against seems to have the greatest quarterbacks in the world because, man, they look good. They just sit in the pocket and pitch it. 5 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, 30 yards.
What was that second down screen that we saw?
That was on 2nd and 20. And they ran a screen. He got 19 yards. Masoli comes in, picks up the first down. That should have been a 2-and-out. How many missed tackles did you see, Maddie? How many whoop did you see? That's unacceptable. This is the CFL. How many people did you see yelling and screaming and throwing their helmet on the sideline? 0. Nobody seems to care, Matt. Nobody seems to care that they're the laughing stock of the CFL once again. All right. If that sits fine with you, that's fine. If that's how you want to operate, go ahead. But that's a joke. Show some damn emotion. Somebody do something. Show the fans that pay good money to come to that stadium and fill whatever seats that are filled. Show them that you give a damn. Nothing.
I found that play. It was 2nd and 17. It was 3-0 at the time. And it goes for 16 yards. It ends up being right there, short yardage. They finish it off. But it's 3-0 with at the start of the second quarter. You can get the ball back. Like it's a completely different ballgame. But you allow a play to go for 17 yards. When you can give up 15. You can give up 14 yards, but you allow it to go all the way. And I never saw a good play of it. I'd like to. That one guy, to your point of the mistackling, just all you see is him go flying by the screen. Like tries to just put his shoulder to it. Doesn't even touch Butler. Just goes across the screen and so fast you can't even see who it is.
Yeah.
And there's just no care, it seems, from anyone on this team. Like I'll even say this with Trey. I want to see it. Like throw your helmet coming off the sideline that you're pissed off at your own play. That you're mad about how you're playing. Throw your own damn helmet or something. But this is a team that now it's showing me more like, hey, they go beat the Ottawa Redblacks. Great. You beat the worst team in the Canadian Football League now. Based on standings and that's the only team you've gotten to beat. The two of you are at the bottom of the CFL. But I don't look at this team and sit here and say that this team is now loaded of talent. I thought it was coming into this season. There was Grey Cups that were coming in. There was All-Stars that were coming in. There was, the defensive line. It was a defensive line unit last year that led the CFL in sacks. But now I sit here and go, it's just not good enough. These players aren't talented enough.
I think you can say that about the offense. Which there are question marks. Talent.
The receiving core is just night and day from what you see from other teams. Like Steven Dunbar loses the ball. Like he doesn't get the catch. It gets picked off by Peters. Great play by Peters. There's another play later, not a great throw again necessarily by Ford, but Julian Grant, he can't hold on to the ball. It gets knocked down. Whereas on those 50-50 balls or whatever, the defenders always get it. They either knock it down or they pick it off. Whereas the Elks defenders, it's always a catch for the other team.
Yeah.
That's a big difference in this, is that the Elks receivers don't go and just make those plays.
Well, it's called giving a damn.
It's also just talent on some of that.
Sure. I'm just speechless. I don't know that I've witnessed a professional sports team lay such a giant egg and seemingly not care. You know, I bet you the media is going to come out after this. They're going to release their clips from after, and it's going to be the same Trey Ford that we've seen every year or every game. You know what? It was good, but I'm sorry, man. You can't play a game of football which is so emotional and just be ho-hum. And it seemed like that is spread throughout this team.
That's a good point.
This ho-hum attitude. This, shucks. Screw that. Wake up. You're 1-4. You beat the worst team, the second worst team in the CFL, because guess what? You're the worst. And if you're not going to take responsibility and own up for your actions or lack thereof, why should Edmonton care about this team? It's just this lazy attitude that nobody seemingly wants to step up and change things. It's driving me nuts. It's enough. And I don't care. I don't know if Mark Killam needs to come out and tear the paint off the wall. I don't know. But something needs to change emotionally with this team because there's none.
John Hodge has this from 3 Down Nation. The Elks or the Lions having 42-54 of time of possession tonight. Unofficially, it's the second highest total since the CFL started tracking that stat since 96. So if you think tonight that you've never seen one team have the ball so much more than the other team, good chances it was, because unless you remember that game from 96, it's the second highest. And it's just embarrassing when you look at that number.
Oof, that's a tough one.
Well, it really is at 43 minutes to 17. It is basically 3/4 of the game. The football is played in 4 quarters.
You're right, it is.
In 3 of those quarters, basically. If you just wanted to combine all, it was the BC Lions on offense. And in one quarter, it was the Edmonton Elks. Usually that stat, from what I could, when you sit there and be like, wow, time of possession really was the other team, it'd be like 33-27. That's what the difference would be. And then you just look at the net offense difference. And this is where it's just embarrassing. 359 yards. And that's generous to the Elks because they got garbage time yardage. Today was a true garbage time defense that we saw from the BC Lions.
The second half was garbage.
Defense, you're saying?
The whole thing was garbage time.
Yeah.
It was a real sleeper, Matty. It just was, I don't know. The game was over. When they scored going into halftime, that drive you alluded to, 7 plays, 101 yards, minute 32, put the nail in the coffin.
It was done.
It was 21-7.
Like, even before that drive, though, like, we're sitting there saying, if the Elks could get a stop, they get the ball, maybe they can get 3 points. But after BC gets the score prior to that, I want to go back to that because the BC Lions, with 2:19 to go in the first half, they make it 17-7, 10-point ball game. Okay, you're getting the ball if you're the Edmonton Elks, though.
Yep.
Go and get into field goal range as an offense. Go into halftime going, we can move this football. Because the touchdown that they scored, they were put into great position. They didn't drive down the field to get that touchdown.
They were gifted that.
Yes. And instead, what do we get?
Let me guess. Oh, hang on. Let me wait. Let me think. 2 and out.
Trey Ford, run to his left, 8 yards. 2nd and 2. Shotgun. incomplete pass. Punting the ball.
I can see the future, man. I can see what you're about to say. It's probably a 2-and-out.
And this is where, okay, so Trey had a bad game.
Everybody did.
But I want to go to the game plan of Jordan McSimmick. You talk about JC Sherritt. What is Jordan McSimmick calling right now?
I don't know.
5 rushes by Rankin and Leak. And it seemed, again, early in this game, let's throw the ball deep. Let's throw the ball deep. There's time and places to throw the ball deep, but move the ball. And it seemed they got down, the Trey threw that interception. It was like, we got to recover. Let's just throw it. We're going to abandon the run. That first half, you said it was 4 runs after the first half.
It was for 7 yards.
That last touchdown came to make it 24-7 with 8 seconds to go in that half. So for the majority of that half, it was a 10-point ball game or better. There's no reason you should have abandoned the run. No. There is not a single reason you should have abandoned that run. Your run total from Rankin and Leak should have been somewhere between 9 and 10 after the first half. And it was 4. What did we talk about with the BC Lions defense going into this? Their run defense.
Not that great.
It was the worst in the CFL.
Yeah.
And as an offensive game plan, you sat there and went, we're going to run 5 times. We'll catch them. We'll show them the best defense against the pass. You decide to play into their hands, into their favor, as opposed to go at them, target them like every other team has done since that week 1 game when the Elks took on the Lions. And you decide to not do that one because you're smarter, maybe. You're smarter than everyone else, and you're going to beat them with the pass. I'm not sold right now. I'm wrong on this one from where I was at the start of the season. I'm not sold right now on Jordan McSimmick. This grand offense.
Yeah.
It seems like he's just throwing darts at a wall at times. Simplify this if you have to. If it's too complicated, simplify this.
Well, how many times tonight did you and I witness a 2nd and 10 play where a 4-yard pass is thrown?
Yeah.
How many? That is probably, and chime in. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat. Is that the most annoying play to watch as a spectator?
Oh.
It's 2nd and 10, yet you throw a 4-yard out. It happens way too much with this team. Right? As we see Trey Ford come on here, post game.
No, he's wearing that starter jacket. I
Those
love that starters making a comeback.
But this is the thing. Here's what I would do. I would have a serious meeting with your defensive coordinator and figure this stuff out. Something's got to give on defense. You're not going to find a bunch of new players. You just can't. Is this the time to look and say, do you need some help? Can I help you? Or do we, look at potentially bringing somebody else in to run this defense? I don't know. But not very good. This was bad. Do you look at Cody Fajardo and say the ball's yours next game?
I don't think you can. I think you got to give Trey a chance to recover from this one.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm not going I don't know why. I wouldn't have started the second half with Cody. But in the third quarter, he would have been playing him if I was the coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been waiting till into the fourth quarter to be playing. That change needed to be a lot sooner for Mark Gillum. I think after the bye week when this team goes to Saskatchewan, Trey would, if I'm Mark Gillum, I'm telling Trey, look, you have to be better. And we're not going to be afraid to make the pull if things are like this game. And by making that pull, it's first half pull almost.
Well, and that's where Mark Gillum needs to say, hey, we ain't cutting it here. If this doesn't get figured out, I'm going to have to figure it out. And heads will roll. I mean, this defense has not been good. They were acceptable for one game. Acceptable. But it is far from good. Jay in the inbox says, boys, this receiving core has no jam. Mathis being the most egregious. The fans seem to care more about the team's success than the players on the field. I echo that sentiment. C. Hendo says, preach it, Milne. I was slinging hot dogs with Gager and came out at the end of the third quarter. I saw net offense yards and couldn't believe it. What a dud to come out with after a win. True. This one here says, considering how bad Trey was tonight, why wasn't Cody put in sooner? Any spark is a good spark. Time of possession 17:06 is embarrassing. 5-2 and outs. Every text that I just read makes perfect sense. I can't even say anything. I can't even argue with you. You're right. You're all right. This was embarrassing.
And I'll say that I did see that. I haven't been able to get into the nasty. Sorry, everyone. We'll try to get to those momentarily. There's just so many comments coming in. Lucas in a Red Ford Ranger did say, where was it? I may have lost it now. But he said, you got to give credit to the BC Lions. So yeah, here it is. Some credit should be given to BC. They're a good football team. And he's right on that. But here's the thing. BC hasn't looked like a good football team this year except for 2 games. And those 2 games were both against the Edmonton Elks. You know, they squeaked out a victory against an Elks team that was led by MBT. They didn't look good at all against Winnipeg in either of those games. One of those had Nathan Rourke. And they did start well against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and if Mazzoli doesn't throw that pick 6 at the end of the first half, who knows how that game fully plays out. But in the end, he did, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders ran away with that football game. They've got some players, and they've got skill on that team. There's a much better receiving core. But everyone else has been able to make it close with the BC Lions, or found a way to beat the BC Lions. And the Edmonton Elks, they haven't been. They lost by 17 in the first one, and tonight, do I want to do the math? I hate doing math on the fly. I used to be good at mental math. What was the final score? 32-17? 32-14.
32-14.
You lost by 18. You lost the season series to the BC Lions now. And in the end, ultimately, and yeah, again, they're credit to the BC Lions. But I think the thing that I don't care about the execution. It's the fact that there was no heart in this.
No give a damn.
No give a damn. No. It didn't look like this bothered them.
No, and you're going to see the same thing on the post games. It wasn't our night. Get off that. Show some damn emotion. Show that you care.
Again, that's where
you just got embarrassed in your profession. You got punched in the face, and
many times,
over and over. It was abuse.
This was Daniel Sedin against Brad Marchand in the 11 Stanley Cup final that was.
This was tough guy Tarnasky against that idiot on the golf course. Bang! Bang! Bang!
He put in a lot more fight.
He gave a damn.
He kept getting up and tried again, and he kept getting knocked down, but at least he tried.
This is something that the head coach, Mark Killam, needs to address. This emotion, or lack thereof, is problematic, and it can become an issue unless things change. If I was the head coach right now, I would announce Cody Fajardo as a starter heading into the bye week. Just do it. Because nothing else really seems to matter. Okay. You're going to be you want to act like, shucks, woe is me. Fine. You're not the guy. I didn't think Cody Fajardo looked fine. I thought Cody Fajardo looked very mediocre as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you need a shakeup in the locker room.
Well, and the one thing that doesn't help with this team right now is that today was the first game, a lot of injuries. A lot of times the Elks trainers, Brian and Lisa, were going on that field looking at those players, and Serezna getting carted off, but no Metier, and there was a few other. Nick Anderson was being looked at one point, I believe. It was just constant player after player after player being looked at. And what type of roster are you going to have going into 2 weeks from now? Hopefully, with the bye week, those guys can be ready. But, I don't know, does David Beard make a difference? Is this game different a little bit offensively if David Beard's in line? I don't think so. Like, in the end, this isn't even a quarterback thing. Like, there's a few changes that need to be made. But I'm open to anything right now because this was that pitiful of a performance.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think it would have mattered if Tom Brady was your quarterback. The defense couldn't stop anything. They couldn't get off the field. And they haven't been able to get off the field. So something's got to change there. And I'm not sure what. Because how long of a leash does a rookie coordinator have? Right?
Well, probably a year.
Probably.
Because it's hard to make those changes mid-season.
But, there's been a lot talked about and discussed about this team. Ooh, look at these guys they brought in on defense. Oh, look at this all-star coaching crew. This was a CFL game, Matt, in which Edmonton threw the ball 19 times. Threw the ball. Tried to throw the ball. They completed 9 of them. They tried to throw the ball 19 times. In the CFL. Nathan Rourke had more completions than the Elks had attempts.
Can I just go through? I just saw this other stat. Okay, Nathan Rourke, there are only 4 incompletions, 26 of 30, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. I don't know if you're looking at the stats right now. You are? Okay, so you know this. James Butler rushed the ball. You just saw the number? 30 times.
Yeah.
He rushed the ball 30 times. 172 yards and a touchdown. Now, the Elks couldn't stop James Butler. He rushed the ball more than the Elks passed today. 30 times. But this is where it is. Like, Hatcher, 9 targets, 9 catches. Berryhill III, 6 catches on 7 targets. Javon Katoy, 6 catches on 6 targets. Like, I just don't even know. I don't even know what to say. If there was a way to bring, I don't know, who were the Toronto defensive coordinators last year? There was co-defensive coordinators last year. I don't think either is on a roster. Or did they go? Now I'm trying to remember. No, Kevin Iben's back. He was there last year. Unless you could find some sort of consultant that could help JC. I don't know what to do with this defense right now. I don't know what Ed could do on this defense right now because it just seems time and time again they can't make a stop. Tonight on second downs, 62% the BC Lions were on conversions. 62% on second down conversions. Like you just can't. They get second downs. They force second downs, but then they get burned. Like today, was there a big play against the Edmonton Elks?
Against? Yeah.
Oh, they had 2-1. Never mind. I just felt like BC Lions just picked them apart.
Well, apparently that's what you do against this team.
You don't have to do anything else.
You don't have to be aggressive. You just take what's given to you and just run it continually.
If the first option's not open, go to the second option.
What was his average in rushing today?
Butler?
Yeah.
What did he average?
5.2 yards per carry. You know what Edmonton's average was?
5.7.
5.5.
Well,
that includes Trey Ford scampering too.
No, so between Rankin and Leak rushed the ball 5 times for 6 yards. They averaged just over a yard per carry.
This one comes in from a 409 area code. What's a 409 area code?
Texas.
Well, howdy.
Southeastern Texan, including cities like Beaumont, Galveston, and Port Arthur.
Well, howdy, partner. This is ridiculous. This is the text that comes in from the unknown person from Texas.
Dave.
Dave.
It says the text above.
No.
Mm-hmm. Look at the text above. It says Dave here.
Oh,
in
Dave
Texas.
here in Texas. Hi, Dave in Texas. This is ridiculous already. Clearly, after 4.5 years, he is not a number one quarterback. Do you have someone else? Do you have someone who could have won 5 of those games sitting on the bench watching this trash happen? Everyone says he did so great against Winnipeg. No, Winnipeg predominantly plays awful against weak, young for backup quarterbacks. That kind of fell apart at the end. Clearly not happy with Trey Ford's performance. Jordan says bye week is the perfect time to change the defensive coordinator. And GM Parisian says this loss was the first step backwards towards the darkness again. The coaching staff seems overwhelmed and under-equipped. You can count on one hand how many QB pressures this D-line had this year. You have the second coming of Damon Allen, and you're calling him like Kirk Cousins. Just all sorts of bad, questionable calls. What do you think of that? I mean, here we're saying, or at least, that's my MO, is run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If you run the ball, even if you're not all that successful, it just changes the way the defense views you. And it changes what the defensive coordinator of the BC Lions or any other team has to do. It keeps you honest. It then allows Trey Ford to sit in the pocket, use his legs, or advance the ball downfield. I mean, running the ball, it's 5 times, Matt?
Yeah.
Between your starting running backs, that is actually inept.
Well, the thing I don't like, and this is the Canadian Football League, and sometimes it can be rough to run the football always because, you don't always want to be, second and long if your running game's not going. I'm just of the mindset also, I just want to see my receivers or my running backs just touch the ball.
Yeah.
We talked about the play that the Elks got burned on the screen. Was there a screen today?
Nope.
Javon Leake was targeted once. Justin Rankin was targeted once. So even if you add that to the rushes, that means 4 attempts or targets to Rankin and 3 to Leake. That's not enough just touches in general. Like even if it was all completed and stuff, that's only 7. You talked big about the second drive the Elks had last week against Ottawa, touchdown drive.
Yeah.
What happened in that drive?
Just different plays. Fun, creativity.
Runs, sweeps, and things like
Misdirection.
that. And instead, we didn't say any of that today. Instead, it was, Trey, throw the ball deep. Throw the ball deep. And I'm just trying to think, and maybe this is because of the height of Trey Ford. But how often do we see the ball just thrown down the middle of the field? Like 5-10 yards down the middle of the field, 15 yards down the middle of the field. Nice slant across. Hit a guy running across the middle of the field.
No, everything's out.
It's always to the outside. And like I said, maybe that's a little bit of Trey's not going to be able to do that because of the size. But I'm not seeing an offense that I think is well called. I'm not seeing an offense that is designed for a nice flow and a nice rhythm. I just see an offense where he's just Maximic is just throwing things and just worst case scenario, just throw the ball deep. Let's just throw
no
the ball
rhythm,
deep.
hey?
Zero rhythm.
Yeah.
Last week we saw rhythm.
Yeah.
And the offense was able to build some. And you want to know something? I think to start this game, rhythm. Like if there was a turning point of this game, it was Trey Ford's interception to Dunbar Jr. The Elks had marched the ball 7 plays, 47 yards. So the offense goes, or the defense starts on the field and they get a stop. They force a punt. Awesome. The Elks get the ball and they were moving it. And where were the Elks on that interception? The Edmonton Elks were at the BC 54. Trey gets interception. He underthrows Dunbar. Let's say he overthrows that one. It's incomplete. Let's say second down, they run the ball and they get 0 yards. You flip field position though.
Yes.
Right? You might be able to pin, with Cody Grace, BC deep, feeling good because the offense came on the field like, look, we got the ball back and we just moved the ball. We flip field position. Defense is rested. They could go out there feeling good. Like, yeah, we stopped them once. Let's go stop them a second time. Instead, BC's feeling good. They get the interception. They're coming off the field happy. The offense goes on the field and they run away with this. Yeah.
Can I just add something about that Dunbar throw?
Yeah.
That might have been his worst throw, even though he overthrew Justin Rankin. He overthrew Zach Knapp. Tonight.
Yeah, it is.
Did you see Dunbar was running an up and in? He did a double move, actually. He faked like he was going to the outside, and then he broke it back to the middle. Trey could have thrown that ball to the wide open middle part of the field, 10 yards short, and let Dunbar come back to it. But away from the receiver that was in chase mode. Instead, he put it on the backside of Dunbar. Like, just inexcusable. I'm sorry, Matt. There's players in Edmonton that play junior football that can make that throw 10 times out of 10. That is the easiest throw in football.
If it's caught,
inexcusable.
it's a touchdown.
If it's thrown to the open field, let him run to it.
If it's caught,
Yeah.
it's a touchdown. You hit that, because he had the step on Gary Peters.
Yep.
You hit him, he's taking that into the house most likely.
No,
And that's where it's like, I always, if you're going to mess that throw up, it should be overthrown. We should be sitting there going, what a missed opportunity because you overthrew it by 5 yards, by 10 yards. But when you, as you say, put it behind him, like, and then that's the problem is that as he's trying to fight for that football, he's heading down to the ground.
Yeah.
Peters has all the positioning. It's a lot easier and for him to take that ball. And credit to Dunbar. He took, like, Peters got it, then Dunbar grabbed it, and then Peters took it from him, and then it was an interception. But that was a bad throw from Trey Ford. And it's not like he was under pressure. It's not like he was going to in fear of getting clocked. He stepped into that throw and he underthrew it. And that to me almost felt like a little bit of a turning point. But after that, then it was like Jordan McSimon's like, well, what do we do? Oh my God, we threw an interception. We can't run the ball now. We can't just have a normal offense, or we can't just try some credit. We just got to throw the ball deep. Right now, so far this season, going into the second bye week, Jordan McSimic has underwhelmed me as an offensive coordinator. JC Sherritt is massively underwhelmed me as a defensive coordinator. Because of that, Mark Killam's not exactly making me feel good as him as a head coach.
I'd say that would be the person that probably needs to address most of this is your head coach.
Trey Ford has regressed this season. The one argument I'll have, Dave in Texas saying this is 4.5 years of Trey Ford. This is the first year, though, he's been given the reins to be a starting quarterback. So now's the first time to actually we could fully judge him. And this is where I got upset with Chris Jones last year, is that we should have been able to have these conversations last year. The defense, the D line is, and with these injuries now, that like they had a D line that we thought was going to be really good. Now they're down maybe 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
In Noah Curtis, Jake Serezna, and Robbie Smith. Linebacking core is okay, I guess, but they're supposed to be your leaders, and this defense is crap. And the secondary can't make a play. Secondary can't make an interception. The secondary can't even just knock a ball down.
That was a bad look, right?
It's just all completion. And then missed tackling and poor tackling. Put the shoulder into it instead of trying to wrap them up.
Yeah.
Like this team, what they need to do is just get back completely to basics. Learn how to play football again. Everything needs to be just done from scratch right now, and it shouldn't be that case. And now you go to Saskatchewan next week. Not next week, but the week after. We'll see. Who does Saskatchewan have next week?
While you're looking at that, Tango in the nasty chat says, I'm not a fan of the offensive play calling. If you watch the good teams, they run no matter what. They take 7-yard throws. They do play action. They do screens, right? Like, just no flair to the offense. No rhyme or reason. Now, last week there was. So it's there somewhere. Now, is that just saying defense just came out, BC came out and laid the boots to this team, mentally, physically, in all facets of the game? Or is it the play calling got in the way? Play calling was an issue. It can be both. It can be a bit of both. But this was a Trey Ford discussion. It's always been the Trey Ford discussion. And you said Trey Ford has regressed.
I think he's regressed from last year.
I don't think so.
You think he's the same?
I don't think Trey Ford's ever been earth shattering. And you know that.
No, I do.
I've said that.
I feel like we've seen better performances and more consistently over the last couple of seasons.
He played well last week. He had a perfect quarterback efficiency.
Yeah.
Right? So it's there. But that's fine and dandy against the Ottawa Red Blacks. That ain't going to work against, the Calgary Stampeders. That's not going to work against the BC Lions. That's not going to work against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
No, but we saw him play well against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And we could go to other guys, let him down in that one. But I think if I feel like he was able to rattle off consecutive victories in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
This year,
who's it against?
Well, he's been able to beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders last year, who were the second best in the West. But even beyond that, like, I don't even have confidence that he's going to beat some of those lower level teams right now. That's why I say he's regressed. Trey Ford was a guy who I think at the end of last year, I would have told you he'll beat the bottom end teams, but he'll lose to the top end teams. Right now, outside of Ottawa, I don't know who else I could feel confident that Trey Ford's going to beat. That's why I say he's regressed.
Well, that's a problem.
It's a big problem. But that's also this whole team. And ultimately, in the end, I actually don't care about his performance. I don't care about the defensive performance and whether they're making their plays or not. What I care more about is the heart today.
Yeah.
That's the one I actually care more about. Because if you don't care, if you don't compete, if losing doesn't matter, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Like, you can't fix this then. No. And we saw, to me, I saw zero passion. The fact that the BC Lions were stomping them, and that's on Trey, and that's, you might be right. That, you often go by your leader. And Trey's the leader. He's the starting quarterback. You're the leader. And you're right on his lackadaisical approach in post games and things like that. And maybe that's where the team's coming from. But I would have been fine with an unnecessary roughness penalty late in that game, where an offensive lineman just went and rocked a BC line defensive lineman or something, and you took 15. I don't care. Show something. Show me something that you're pissed off. Show me something that something happened and you're not happy about it. And I saw none of that today. That I honestly don't even care about whether Trey's a starting quarterback in this league or not. Whether Jordan McSimic is calling a right offense or JC Sherritt's good enough to be a defensive coordinator right now in the Canadian Football League. I care more the fact that this team just didn't seem to care that they were getting their butts handed to them by the BC Lions. And I don't know how you fix that. And I'll tell you something right now. 2 guys that won't be impressed about that, or shouldn't be, anything I know about those 2 guys, they wouldn't be, because that's not how that they were in the locker room. That's not how their locker rooms were. It's the guy in the general manager's office and the guy in the president's office. There's no way Ed Hervey and Chris Morris would have been fine getting stomped 32-14. There's no way their locker rooms would have been fine getting stomped 32-14. Yet the team that they're running out there just was fine with losing 32-14, at least emotionally. And how are they going to go handle that one?
Not a good look. Jay says McSimic's in Ford's head about staying in the pocket behind an O-line that struggles, and they aren't moving him around enough. He had a rough game, but he is getting zero help from the coaches. Dash says last week when they showed rhythm, the coaching staff tried to kill it by putting Fajardo in. That throw was an 8-foot putt when you had a 10-foot uphill birdie attempt. I think he's talking about the throw to Dunbar down the middle.
Well, you know what I'm going to say? Dwayne Ford brought this up at the end. Last week, it didn't make sense. It was the game plan. They went about it. They put in Cody Fajardo. And you could look on it and say it didn't make sense. Things were going well. If there was a game where you maybe should have sat Trey for a series, to let him breathe, let him observe things, let Cody get out there, and if they have these today was that game. They did it almost the opposite. Like, if there was a time you were going to pull that card out where we're going to put Cody out there just so Trey could see what's going on from the sidelines. Today was that game. And they didn't even, why not do that today then? When things were going bad, why wouldn't you do that for a series?
Yeah.
It seems like they almost have no answers, and they're just throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks and what works. And they have no rhyme or reason why they're doing things as a coaching staff. And that concerns me.
How do you justify Trey Ford starting in the second half? After going 2 for 8 for 28 yards and an INT and several missed throws in the first half.
The reason I would is you let him see, you give him that drive to see if maybe through film at the halftime, he could turn it around. I think you owe it to your starter. I don't care who your starter is for a series. But that was a 2-0. If Cody Fajardo came out in the next series, that's when, if it wasn't that next series, it should have been the series after that. But at the same time, I will say this. If they did go with Cody Fajardo, I don't think anyone could have criticized that.
No, it would be applauded. It wasn't working tonight.
Nothing was working tonight.
Nothing was working.
Even they got almost like poor tackling. They almost allowed a punt return for a touchdown. Now there was a block in the back. The Elks player sold that pretty well, but Gary Peters blocked him in the back. But look at that execution of that after that block in the back, where the BC Lion returner, who I believe that would have been McGee, he goes to the sideline, and then the Elks just don't take him out of bounds.
Yeah.
And he just cuts back the other way, and he's gone to the house. Like, where's the detail? Where's the execution? How do you allow that to happen? And to Mark, that's your specialty.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting bye week because this team needs a lot of, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a good time for a bye week.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's not a good time for another game. This was embarrassing. This was terrible.
This was many steps backwards. Week after week, step forwards. They were making them progress. And they just fell down the stairs now. They fell down and they're sitting at the bottom of the stairs and they got to climb back up again. But they've got all the bruises from just such a horrendous game. Starting with Trey, including Jordan Maksimic. I really wish we got the audio of this game. I don't know why we don't get them for home games and we get them for away games much quicker. I want to read some nasty chat comments. Mark, team doesn't care and fans are fed up and attendance getting worse and worse. For the attendance for tonight's game, it was an improvement from last week, 17,559. If I'm reading this correctly, let me zoom in quickly. 17,559. That was the attendance. Adam S., a special team-centric head coach with zero creativity or ability to use this league-best returner is classic double E. Jordan, done with Ford. It's been 3 seasons. He can't complete a pass. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid, guys.
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Daniel T., the offense was just constantly 2-and-outs, and the defense could barely drink some water before they're back out there. But I'm not letting the defense off the hook on this. Drive 2 and drive 3 of this football game. And drive 2 was after the Elks had 7 plays, 47 yards. 70 yards, 10 plays, field goal for BC. Next one, 10 plays, 63 yards and a touchdown. They had rest, and they still give up yards. This team had this defense we have seen time and time again throughout 5 games this year. Come out to start a game or come out at halftime where they've had rest and they give up the drives. They give them up later on, sure. Like if I look at that 101 yards, 7 plays at the end of the first half, the Edmonton Elks prior to that, 3 plays, 8 yards, 3 drives, 19 yards. Yeah, I could agree maybe on that one, a little more tired. But also, like, how tired you get in the first half? I guess maybe when the other team's playing for 1.5 quarters on the field, I guess. But that's where the opening drive of the third quarter for the BC Lions. Again, the Elks defense is rested. The Elks defense got a turnover announced. They've been able to do that somehow.
They have.
But there was still 9 plays, 76 yards. They allowed the BC Lions to march. This defense, it's not and later on in games, later on in half, sure, the defense is a little more tired. But if you go through the 5 games this year, the Edmonton Elks defense gives up long drives and gives up points and gives up yards when they are rested. That I don't buy fully into they're tired because the offense isn't doing anything. Yeah, sure. Again, later it works. But they've also proven that when they are rested, they can't make a stop. They can't go in and get that ball back for the most part.
And you know what, Matt? This tired they're on the field. You're a pro athlete. Don't come knocking at my door telling me, "Oh, we were on the field a lot. We were tired." I'm not going to be too compassionate for you.
And hey, look, Jake Serezna had a tough injury, but long break. So that there is rests and moments in these games.
Yep.
And yet they can't make stops. What was it tonight? Second downs.
46.7%.
Yeah, no, but it was BC was 8 of 10 conversions.
18 of 28.
They were 8 of 10 though, between 4 and 6 yards.
Okay, yep.
And 7+. Better than week one. Sorry, I got a little bit of hiccups here. 40% the BC Lions. But the BC Lions converted 12 of 20. So 60% of second down conversions of 4 or longer. And of one of those second down and longs, they got that third down. That was the screen, which basically should have been counted as a conversion because the Elks defense couldn't do anything there.
Do you think there will be any changes made?
It's a great question.
I don't think there will.
Wow, we saw Rugamba get cut after 2 weeks.
I don't think, and I'm talking coaching changes.
Oh, no, nothing. Zero. Absolutely not.
I don't think there will. I think there's a little bit of more leash.
It's brand new coaching stuff.
But that's okay. So what?
I would love some sort of consultant to be added though on the defensive side.
Help. An outside
just a
perspective.
Veteran. I don't know who that is. I'm trying to think. Like Paul LaPolice would be the guy that'd be sitting there and be like, you got to go get him if you need an offensive guy. But I don't think you're bringing an offensive person for Jordan Maximic. And if I think more it's JC Sherritt needs a little more veteran. I just don't know who that is. Honestly, you don't have the perfect person to go get. It ain't happening. Who's just here? Chris Jones. The guy knows his defense.
Matthew.
He did it in Hamilton last year.
You dirty dog, you.
But like if there's actually a spot where you'd be like, you need Chris Jones, it'd be right now for defense.
Yep.
But I just don't. He is with UNC now, I think.
Trey Ford starts next game?
Yeah.
That one I'm going to have to... Okay, I understand coaching changes, sure. That's a little bit too aggressive. Trey Ford is not... Hey, this is it. This is it, Matt.
Sure.
Hey, this is the first camp Trey Ford's got the ball in camp. He's the guy. He's our starter. I'm sorry, but you've got one win.
Yeah.
The one win, the one game which you looked good, really good, was against the worst opposition in the CFL. Mm-hmm. Trey Ford is going to have to answer the bell or he
100%.
is going to get run out of town.
Absolutely. But you want to know something? This is what it was supposed to have happened last year. We should have been going through these conversations last year to understand this. And this is why I get mad at Chris Jones is that we didn't fully know what he was.
Yeah.
And now we're having to go through this season with these question marks. But you're right. There does come a point where maybe he's not that guy. And, you know, I'll say this, if he loses to Saskatchewan, if he is playing against Saskatchewan, it better be a damn good performance by him. Otherwise, Cody Fajardo's starting the first game of August.
Yeah.
You have to at some point.
Yeah, you can't keep kicking the ball down the road.
Unless the only way you can do this is if you just commit to Trey this season. You're committing and you let him go all the way. And then you figure out your quarterbacking for next year.
But when he's
I don't think you do
when
that.
he's up against like the higher end or better defensive teams, he struggles.
Yeah. Well,
simply put.
And if you want to be a starting quarterback in the Canadian Football League, you're going to be a starting quarterback any league. You have to rise. And at this moment, he hasn't risen. You got to step up. You got to carry this team sometimes. And we've seen it at times. He has the ability to do it. But, you know, I'll say one thing. Like, if I can have a change for this team personnel-wise going into that Saskatchewan, if I could have two, I don't know where I'd want something in. Well, there's injuries on the D-line, so I guess you're getting them there. I would like something in the secondary. But I'd also like a different receiver. I'm disappointed. I think he's just on the practice roster of Montreal. Bring back Alex Hollins. Make it work. I don't care if you have to cut someone else.
Yep.
Like, go get a receiver that has been proven in this league to go catch the football. And I will defend this part of the spending at times of money with a Kenny Lawler or Eugene Lewis, is that when you have a quarterback that you're questionable about, those guys are going to go make the catch if the ball's just near them. The Elks do not have a playmaker in their receiving corps. They do not have someone that is just going to take that football and make a big play. And that doesn't help your wide receiver or your quarterback either, is that when he's throwing the football, 50-50 balls are not going your team's way. They will go the other way every time. So I would love to see some sort of receiver change for this team. I don't know how. I don't know where Ed goes gets it, but he needs to go get another receiver.
Mm-hmm. Dunbar's been good.
He's been good, but he's not that playmaker that takes over a game. I've always said Dunbar's a great number 2. They don't have a number 1. They don't have a Keon Hatcher. They don't have a Kenny Lawler. They don't have a Geno Lewis. They don't have a Tyson Philpott. They don't have, I'd say it's almost Wheatfall right now in Winnipeg, but a Dalton Schoen. They don't have a Samuel Emelis. That's that. They don't have a Justin Hardy. Like, that's what they're missing.
But do you not think it doesn't matter if, given who's throwing the ball?
I think it does help, and it does matter a bit, because I see Julian Grant dropping the football. I see a 50-50 ball with Julian Grant, and he doesn't catch it. I see Zach Mathis not go make a play. Whereas if you think about what this season would have been had Zach Matheson gone and grabbed that football against Montreal, how would that game been different? I don't know. What would have happened if Julian Grant catches that football against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? But even today, like, a couple of 50-50 balls, no one's making a play. So it's only on the quarterback. The quarterback has to make the perfect throw.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's an incompletion or it's an interception. Like, even with the Dunbar, that underthrow, it's a bad throw from Trey. But you couldn't even just somehow get it knocked down. I think receiving corps needs some improvement. What would you like to see changed?
Going Fajardo starting.
Okay. Anything else?
Better game plan offensively. Or how about just a game plan?
Well, and that's where I'd rather see that with Trey. I'd like one more with Trey, where it's just a simplified game plan. Commit to running the ball, commit to solid short passes, maybe mixing in that long throw once in a while, maybe mixing some play actions. But you want to know something? If they do go to Cody, wouldn't be upset.
Every area of that team, offense, defense, offensive calling, defensive play calling, needs to be better. And it needs to improve fast. Because I don't think this, like you said earlier, this GM, this president, mediocrity does not sit well with them. Lackluster performances does not sit well with them. So I sincerely hope, for the sake of the people that are on that coaching staff, that they take a long look in the mirror this bye week and dial something up a hell of a lot better than what was just witnessed tonight. Because that will not last long under this new regime. Trey Ford's play will not last long under this new regime. Everything has to be better. Can they do it? I don't know, Matt. I'm concerned if they can. But I'm sorry. When you have Justin Rankin and Javon Leake and you run the ball 5 times, that's not good enough. That's simply not good enough. Butler had 6 times as many carries as the Edmonton running backs.
Well, and that's where I get frustrated with the defense. You can tell me you're tired, but you couldn't even stop Butler. He ran the ball 30 times, and he just kept going. They were able to run the ball 30 times, and you didn't have an answer for it at any point. And injuries isn't the excuse for this. The only concern, not the only concern. One of the other concerns for me today is going to be in the end these injuries and if they're long term. Because the one thing I do believe, and I felt this after preseason, I don't think because of the money spent on starters, I don't think they have the depth should they deal with injuries. And they've been a healthy team so far. But if they're down Curtis, Serezna, Smith, Metier defensively, and who knows who else, I don't know how they balance this one out. But this season, it's on that brink where it's almost disaster time. Where I don't know how we evaluate the rest of the season because I don't know how you come back the rest of the season. They need to go rattle off a couple of victories in a row. The Edmonton Elks, they will take a bye. They will get the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's not going to be easy. They then play host to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They're in Montreal, likely Davis Alexander by then. Then they get Toronto. Then they get Ottawa. You need to beat Toronto. You need to beat Ottawa. You need to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'm going to say you need to take advantage of those. Can you beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders?
No, not this team. Not the team we witnessed tonight.
The team we witnessed tonight doesn't beat Ottawa in the rematch.
The team we witnessed last week? Possibly.
I'm still just I can't believe the lack of heart.
Dumbfounded.
The lack of heart for this game. Lack
of everything. Really.
Vincent Blanchard, he didn't even kick the ball, so I can't even give him full credit for today.
And I can't even yell it.
What did he do? He had 2 extra points, crushed them both. Good on you, Vincent Blanchard. Cody Grace, he punted the ball well enough. Nothing inside the 10, but sure, Cody Grace, round of clicks for you. I think that's it. Was there anyone else you'd give any credit to today?
I thought Nick Anderson. I thought the linebackers played good.
Yeah, Nick Anderson, 10 tackles, 1 sack. Logan Jr. stepped in for Metier, had 10 tackles.
That was probably the bright spot, was the linebackers. They played pretty damn well. They cared.
But you also gave up. You're the leaders of a defense that gave up 519 yards and couldn't force them off the field.
Good point.
It's hard to give credit to anyone on that defense.
Deacon St. John, was there any positives out of today's game?
It ended.
Yes.
It ended.
It's over. We can go home now.
That was the best positive of today, that it finally ended at some point.
Oh, that was spicy, but good.
I don't know how people stayed awake in the stands.
I don't know, Matt. Maybe this is such a embarrassing loss that this wakes them up. I don't know.
I've seen enough bad Elks football, all around, all double E football. I've seen enough bad. I've seen enough rock bottoms to know that this doesn't. It could still get worse, or it could just stay this way. I've seen enough of this, and my only fear is, if it does continue this way, I don't know what you do next.
Well, unfortunately, you're just probably going to have to sit there and suck it up.
But I don't know, how you go into next season. And, it's just...
Find an actual quarterback.
Well, yeah. I think there is one on this roster.
Maybe.
And there's a reason you bring in Cody Fajardo in the end, ultimately.
Trey Ford's not passing the test right now. He's not passing the smell test.
And he's regressed this year. To me. To you, he is what he is.
He's the same as what he was, because this is just who he is.
But it's, but the quarterback, I don't care what quarterbacks, and those receivers aren't catching the ball for them. Those other quarterbacks, the one thing I will say about Trey versus other quarterbacks, well, except Cody Fajardo, a lot of those, and bringing a quarterback and they're getting sacked. There's a few times Trey's just getting out there because he's got the speed and he can escape that. But also that offense, I don't care if you find a quarterback, they could put up some points, but they're not going to put up more points than what the defense has given up, especially when they only get in the ball for 17 minutes.
17 minutes to 42. Yikes.
The next home game for the Elks, GoElks.com for your tickets. Hamilton Tiger Cats, August 2nd. 1:00 start, though, which is nice to bring the kids, and you don't have to worry about.
Is that on a Sunday? Saturday.
Yeah. Nice way to start your, it's what is it?
August
Heritage
long?
Day, August long. Yeah. That's that one. But the Edmonton Elks, they will have a bye week coming up. Then they, on Friday, will be in Saskatchewan, take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Matthew Iwanyk, will bring you the Green and Gold kickoff and postgame shows as Jay is going to leave me.
I'm out of here. I'm not going to be back on the show after that.
Jay is so upset. Jay looked at me during the game. He says, I am not doing another pre and post game show for the month of July. I'm gone.
Quit.
I'm gone.
I quit.
I will see you in August. That's how upset Jay was.
Going to work for the Elks.
So that's going to be the next one, July 25th, Green and Gold kickoff show. Upcoming, tomorrow though, Nielsen show. No Eric, but Dusty and Trev, Hangout, Lock Shop. We've got Oil Stream. We've got EST Afternoons. We've got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. That's all to come. Also, especially between the Hangout, between the Nielsen Show, between the Reed Wilkins Show, EST Afternoons, a lot more coverage on the Edmonton Elks. Any final thoughts for today?
No. That was sad. That was just lackluster, Matty. You can't say it enough. This team needs to have a long look at themselves and say, what are we actually doing here? What are we paid to do? Sack up and do your job. Because that was not good enough. Nor should that ever be considered to be good enough. This fan base deserves more. This city deserves more effort. So do it. That's a test. See if they can do it.
Quickly, Shotgun Sports Network, stall 182 in the tailgate, Lot B, 10 a.m., August 2nd, where the Elks heard. Brunch tailgate, as VR points out as well, which would be a lot of fun to be at. This was, Jay, I think, what were the words you started the show with? Disappointing,
Deplorable.
Embarrassing, deplorable, disgusting, heartless.
Yeah, heartless.
All of those. It was just an awful performance. After a good first opening drive for the defense and for the majority of the first opening drive for the Edmonton Elks offensively, but then it all just fell apart and it was a disaster and it was ugly. And it was a team that just didn't seem to care that they lost, which is just so disheartening to see. And hopefully we see a little bit more fight in them as we, well, not a little bit more. I shouldn't say hopefully a little bit more. Hopefully a lot more fight. You're going to go down swinging.
Sure.
Against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But the Edmonton Elks, they are on a bye. We'd like to thank everyone for spending your Sunday night with Jay and I here at Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Round of clicks for you. Round of clicks for all of you sticking through
Round
for
of
this
clicks for
post-game
everybody
show.
that had to watch that.
Well,
and stuck around to watch us. Thank you. This is the best part of this was the best part of the game.
We saw a team that didn't care, it seemed like today, but you care. Like you're still in the nasty chat. You're still going because you're pissed off. And it's one sad to see that you have more care than the players on the field. Like they're the ones that should be, following, doing this, and you're following their lead. But thank you to you for tuning in and spending your Sunday with us with the Green and Gold kickoff and post-game shows here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. As I've already said, Elks on a bye week. They're back July 25th, Friday, as they're in Saskatchewan to take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. On behalf of Jay, I am Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Green and Gold post-game show. Elks dropped to 1-4 on the season after they fall 32-14 to the BC Lions. More coverage of this tomorrow right here across our station on Edmonton Sports Talk, starting at 6 a.m. with Dusty and Trev. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will talk to you tomorrow on the Hangout. Jay will talk to you tomorrow on the Reed Wilkins Show at 3 o'clock. Have a good night.